Dane County Board of Supervisors Oral History Project. This podcast series addresses the personal experiences of current and former board supervisors and the social and community context of the Dane County Board throughout the past 50 years. Each podcast in this series highlights a central theme that emerged in the interviews conducted for the Oral History Project. This podcast focuses on the expressed importance of family and community support in the process of running for public office. Our discussion is guided by PetersonThurlow, Dane County Board Chief of Staff.
I'm PetersonThurlow. I currently serve as the Chief of Staff for the County Board. I've been in that role since 2012. Prior to that, from 1996 onward, I was the policy analyst for the board. So I've worked with 6 county board chair, and I've worked with innumerable county board members over the course of time.
And Elizabeth Doyle, District 1 Supervisor.
I'm Elizabeth Doyle, and I'm the Dane County District 1 County Board Supervisor and represent downtown Madison. I was first elected last year in the 2019 special election and was reelected in this spring's election. I serve on the Health and Human Needs Committee and was elected chair this term, and I also chair the Behavioral and Mental Health Subcommittee, which has been a really nice intersection with my day job, which is for the Wisconsin Department of Health Services as the section chief for their long-term care rate setting team. I first became involved in local politics here in Dane County in 2012. I was actually a volunteer organizer for Organizing for America and helped out with the Obama campaign for that November's election. And through that role, I really got to know a lot of different community leaders throughout Verona, which is where I lived at the time, and really got a sense of kind of what issues really inspired people to be involved and what was really important to them, and just also learned a lot of skills around organizing folks and talking about issues, and that experience really supported some of those different leadership qualities. So after that campaign subsided, I had a lot of folks throughout the community ask if I had ever considered running for office myself. And so that's what really inspired me to look at their local spring elections for city council. Those relationships that I built through previous volunteer experiences and campaigns, just with different neighborhood associations, really allowed me the opportunity to, again, just get a sense of what was important to folks and to know that I was able to articulate and advocate for those positions as an elected official.
State Senator Mark Miller, former board chair Scott McDonald, and Secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs, Mary Kolar, reflect on the impact of their respective families' value of public and community service.
I am Mark Miller. I had reflected on the contribution that my stepmother had made to making things better for the state of Wisconsin and actually for the nation, and felt like I had not stepped up and done my share of work. And so that was a motivation that I felt like I needed to do my part to try and leave a better Wisconsin, a better situation for my children and their children.
Scott McDonald. For me, it was definitely that my mom and dad and sister were all in county government. And I naturally felt from that qualified to be on the county board. Now, whether I was or not. But half of it is just attitude, more than half probably. And I had gone to counties association meetings in Maryland growing up and been stuck in the back of meeting rooms when my dad was there. And my mom also was very active in the Democratic Party and was a professor.
I am Mary Kolar. My mother was a single parent of 7 children. Her tenacity, fortitude, just to hang in there and do the jobs that she could get to ensure that she had an income to be able to take care of us. But at the same time, she was involved in the community, whether that was church or the American Legion Auxiliary. This is a time in our country where, it's post for her being a widow after World War II. My dad was killed in a car accident, but in the 50s he was killed. But nonetheless, that there was such a thing as the Widows Club, so they would play cards, and, so it was a big deal when my mom's turn to host the Widows Club and just watch these ladies in our home. So I would say the number one influence was my mother, her her leadership, her as a parent, but also as a person involved in their community.
What are your thoughts, Elizabeth?
Parents and other family members can really set that example and instill that kind of love of giving back to the community and community service.
State Representative Sheila Stubbs, former board chair Richard Wagner, and State Representative Melissa Sargent reflect on the value of strong relationships with neighbors and community organizations.
My name is Sheila Stubbs. So I began reading, teaching kids how to read, teaching parents how to read, teaching women how to read, doing a women's support group, and just becoming active knowing my neighbors. And then I began to be active with the association, the Lake Point Association, and the name was changed to Bridge Lake Point Neighborhood Association. And doing that kind of work and volunteering at our community center, I began to learn more about the neighbors and learn more about the history of the community, and then learning my challenges. So in the daytime, I was a probation and parole agent. Mm-hmm. At nighttime, I was an awesome volunteer and looked forward to doing that. And because the community began to see me work so hard, being young and invested my time and my energy, my support financially, eventually they said, why don't you become the Neighborhood Association president?
My name is R. Richard Wagner. I was involved with the anti-war movement on the Madison campus, and then growing out of that, including the moratorium movement on the campus, was involved with the New Democratic Coalition in 69 and 70. And that led to involvement with Don Peterson's campaign for governor in 1970. He ran in the Democratic primary, lost that. But that got me very involved in Democratic politics in the area. In 1974, I ran for an open aldermanic seat when my predecessor, Dennis McGilligan, resigned over in the 4th District, the Mansion Hill area. And then I moved to the Marquette neighborhood, became Marquette Neighborhood Association president. Bill Thompson and his wife Connie, fondly known as Boss and Bossina of the 6th District, encouraged me to run for the county board in 1980 when Mike Nowakowski, the incumbent, was not going to run. And I did.
My name's Melissa Sargent. In fact, the person who preceded me on the Dane County board, her name is Dorothy Wheeler, and she also was my 7th grade teacher. It's kind of the benefit of continuing to live in the community that you grew up in. And she, amongst many other people, started reaching out and encouraging me to run for the county board. And my initial reaction was, I am very busy doing a lot for my community. I was involved as a volunteer within a PTO at the school, with friends groups in my community, on the board of directors with the daycare, and a number of other different organizations, as well as being the mom to 3 lovely young boys at that point in time.
What are your thoughts, Elizabeth?
I think, especially among women, there is this great sense of men very often kind of take it upon themselves to have that confidence in their own abilities and their viewpoints needed to be represented in political office, whereas, for myself and a lot of other women that I've talked to, it's taken other women already in office or in different leadership roles throughout the community kind of coming to them. Karen?
I think we find community in different ways, either by proximity or by interest area. And I think both are key. How you develop your own sense of what needs to happen to make the world a better place, and how you're going to become an agent for that change using the county board as the vehicle. And I think that these individuals of the last several decades really embody that well.
Mike Blaska, United States Representative Mark Pocan, and current board chair Annalise Eicher all provide insight for future leaders in Dane County.
James Michael Blaska. Well, I think that, you have to be true to yourself. I think that I think that you obviously you got to listen what the people are saying, but you can't be swayed because of you get in a room and everybody in the room is opposed to it, so then you got to be opposed, or you can't be opposed to something because you got 26 phone calls versus opposed at 12.
I'm Mark Pocan. If you're interested in public policy and you're interested in what your neighbors, want to represent them and their views, it's a good place to do, especially local government, I think, because you can have that impact, very directly on people's lives. But I think it's, there's a lot of different ways people serve their community. But if you have an interest in politics and you're willing to work a lot of extra hours, because don't forget, almost everyone has a 9 to 5 or whatever that job is they have, and this is on top of it when you serve on the county board, which I think it can be a challenge, because I remember I had meetings 3, sometimes maybe even 4 nights a week on top of all that, and it's hard if you have a family and kids to be able to do those sorts of things. I've always appreciated people who do this because it really is a commitment to their community, and it's their expression of serving the public.
Annalise Eicher, find what moves you. What is pushing you? Like what is driving you in your community? Like, do you want to fix something? Do you want to change something? Do you want to champion something? What is it that is driving you, and how does that connect with the body that you're seeking to represent? I think the other thing for young folks is don't write off local government. I mean, local government's where it's at. I love local government. I've always loved local government, and local government has such a real impact on every single moment of our lives.
For more information about the policies and projects referenced in this podcast, please check out the Oral History Project report located on the Dane County website.